Welcome, my friends, to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm DC Gomez, and I'm thrilled you're joining me today for a fun conversation with a passionate author. We're kicking off the program, like it's our tradition, with a short reading from the feature book. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get started.
Hello, everyone. My name is Margarita Longoria. I am the editor, author of Living Beyond Borders, Growing Up Mexican in America. It's a young adult anthology of short stories, poems, essays, and even a couple of comic strips. Today, I'm going to read just a little part of my introduction to the book. The reason I wanted to put an anthology together. I wanted a collection of stories that represented what it means to me to be Mexican American living in America today. In these stories, I wanted hope, family, friendship, and empowerment to shine through and help heal this hate. I wanted to explore our horrific past, the borders we have crossed, the obstacles we have pushed through, both metaphorically and physically, and acknowledge the self-imposed confines we often struggle with as a result of an oppression that has plagued our culture and our people for decades. With this collection of stories, personal essays, poetry, and comics, and more, I wanted to educate others and celebrate the beauty and the uniqueness of the Mexican American culture.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors. I am so thrilled you guys are joining me today. We have a really special episode. We have the fabulous Miss Margie. Hi, madam. How are you?
How are you? Thank you for having me.
I am so excited you're here. We've been talking about this for a while. So I'm so happy it's coming together. So you read us the introduction. We're going to jump right in. I want to know, how long did it take you to put this project together, and where did it start?
This project is very special to me. It was 2018 that I gathered this idea because we were hearing a bunch of things in the news. Our past president was just saying ugly things about Mexican Americans. Everybody was saying ugly things. It was all over the news about how Mexicans were bad people, Mexicans were rapists, the people who come from Mexico aren't the best people. They're just these ugly things about Mexican Americans and Mexicans. And it upset me. So I thought to myself, like, I wanted to fight back. And the best way that I knew how to fight back was with words and with stories, because I think books are magic. Words are powerful. So I wanted to get a collection together to disprove all these ugly things that were going on in the media. And I was very lucky that I asked one of my very close friends. Her name is Guadalupe Garcia McCall. She's a Mexican American writer. And I told her my idea, and she was like, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. So she goes, go ask everybody we know. So I started emailing other Mexican American writers that I've met throughout the years as a librarian and stuff. So some said yes, some said no. And we launched on this little journey to put this collection together for our young people and pretty much for everybody. I've gotten so much good feedback on it from both young people and adults. So that's been a lot of fun that people have read this book. It's like mirrors and windows into our community, mirrors for our young people, for us. A lot of people have been telling me, like, adults have been saying, like, that this book means a lot to them because it's a book they didn't have when they were a child. And then our young people are saying, thank you so much for this book because we feel seen. And then other people, like other people that aren't Mexican Americans, also appreciate the honesty and the authenticity of the stories that we have in here. So it's just been a great journey. It took us about from my idea from 2018, and it was published August 2021. And we have 4 lives. We're hardback. We are in Spanish. We were published in Spanish in January. Then we are in audio and in paperback this past May 10th. So we're very excited that it's out there in all these different forms for people to enjoy.
This is so exciting, and it's such a collection of love. It's so powerful. And the fact that you honestly said, how do I actually bring the voices back to people to see? And you did it the way you love, through words. Absolutely, I love it. How many authors do you have in this collection?
There's 19 authors in this collection. And I want to say 8 of them are from the Rio Grande Valley, which is where I'm from. But it was really important to me to have my area represented here along the Rio Grande Valley borders, but the Texas border. But also, I have people from all over the country because a lot of times people think Mexico only land right here in Texas. No, we're all over the country, and the book has authors from all over the country, which is very exciting to me because I wanted different perspectives, different time eras, and different voices. It's a very diverse cast of writers, and I'm very proud of it.
How long are the stories in each one of these? Because it's a pretty big anthology, but how big are each story that people can expect?
We have a bunch of short stories and essays, but there are average, maybe it's about seven. What I loved about it is that the stories are the short stories, but they're not intimidating to a reluctant reader. They're not intimidating to somebody who wants to just go in. You can read a story and then stop and then come back and read like a little bit later. They're not so long to where you get so caught up and you can't stop reading after a little bit and then to go back.
The beautiful combination of talent all put together to represent such a diverse culture. Because it's hard to say, how do I capture an entire culture in a book?
Right.
Because that's a huge undertaking. Were there any stories that you had to turn back, like, okay, this doesn't fit in this book?
Yes, there were a few. I asked a lot of people, and I felt very bad after they just didn't fit the idea or the theme that I was going for. And it was mainly because I wanted stories for young adults. And I think anybody can read a young adult story. It wasn't necessarily that I'm an adult and that's all I read is young adult stories. But I wanted this mainly to focus on our kids I taught in 8th grade. But they didn't have stories about you, but there wasn't a lot. I wanted it for the kids to be able to read stories in their English classroom and be able to see themselves and not necessarily always have to read stories about other. There were a couple of stories that I just didn't fit. But maybe if I do something else, maybe I could try to fit some of the other stories. Everything that was submitted to me was really wonderful.
You had the hard time of having a concept for a book, but also of being the editor for the book and having to make these hard decisions of saying, I love it, but it's not for us right now. How much for you as the editor did you take it personal? You're like, you actually had to tell these people no. How hard was that part?
It was very hard because I asked people that I knew personally, like friends. I can consider them friends or acquaintances. And for me to get them really excited about the project and then be like, "Oh, I can't use your story." It was very hard. It was hard. I had a wonderful time editing this book. Everybody that I worked with, I consider family now. Like a lot of them were family before, friends for sure. And a lot of them I've been friends with for 10 years or more. But some of these were new friends. And now I really consider them all like family. We worked really hard together. We put this together during the pandemic, which was very hard and very different. We sold post pre-pandemic. When we sold in November of 2019, everything was hunky dory in the world. And then all of a sudden, a couple months later, we're in lockdown. We have people dying, people close to us. My cousin passed away. She was a nurse and she died from COVID in July of 2020. And then I have contributors whose moms passed away, dads passed away. It was an interesting, difficult, weird time to try to get creatives to be creative. But everybody came through with their project. Everybody was very professional. I remember thinking, like, if we can't do this and we can't do this, but no, everybody was like, we're going to do this. And we did. We met our deadline and all during this weird time of the world of history, really.
You have taken something so big in the middle of such a huge crisis and you handled it so well. So it's so exciting because you literally were the one coordinating with a traditional publisher. So you have artists on one side, publishing in the other, and you're in the middle.
Yes.
Somehow trying to keep the peace of everybody and moving this project forth. What were you doing to keep focus?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. Coffee and just a lot of just prayer. I just wanted it so bad in the world. Like I said, books are magic and there's nothing more powerful than words. And to be able to walk in somebody else's shoes through a book was so important to me for the world to have this and for it to live forever through the voices of these writers. So people could see our into our culture ever endeavor and know that we are a beautiful culture. Every culture is beautiful. And because we love our culture, Thomas has a quote that's something like, to preserve your own culture, does it mean you have to put down somebody else's culture? Like we can love all cultures. That was very important to me, to show the love of my culture for the world to see and read and appreciate us, for everybody to walk in our shoes and for us to walk in other shoes. There was some stressful times here and there. I had a wonderful team at Random House, and then my contributors were just amazing. So I consider myself very blessed, very lucky. Like it was like all the stars just aligned perfectly for us because it really happened that quickly and it really happened that magical. One day I have this idea. The next day, literally it happened like that. The next day I have my friend called her agent and her agent called, wanted to talk to me. And then I had an agent and then we're working on a proposal. I tell all the contributors, hey, I have representation now. So and everybody knew, okay, this is serious. Like, it's not just a crazy idea in Margie's head because Margie comes up with crazy things all the time and they know it. So they were like, okay, so maybe this is serious on Margie's part. So then, we started taking this a little bit more serious and the story started coming in and I was just it was like magic. The editor I had at Penguin was like editor of all editors. She's the same editor that does Ruta Septi's novels. And Ruta Septi is like this major young adult historical fiction rock star. When I found out we had the same editor, I was like, I can't even believe that was crazy. Like, how amazing was that? So everything was just magical about the way this book was put together. And I really feel it is magic. I always wanted to have a book that I was able to put together, write, curate something, and I do. And it was all very much. I still can't believe this happened.
It is a beautiful feeling to have, but it's also knowing that the universe came together to bring it in. Because sometimes, as writers, we're working on a single project. It feels like we're alone in the universe and we're trying, nothing comes together. When you have such a huge collaboration of all these things happening and it happens so quickly, it is absolutely beautiful and magic. And for listeners that are going, oh my God, does it happen like that to everybody? No, everybody doesn't have that experience.
That's why it's very important to me to make this book, to live up to this book and to represent this book because my little story is not normal. My little story is not what happens to everybody. And I'm very grateful. And I tell people that all the time. No, this isn't what happens. Sometimes I feel like, oh my God, how lucky am I? How blessed am I that it happened like this for me? I'm very grateful and I'm hoping that we can continue to get work like this out there. Very important that we have Mexican American voices represented, all voices represented in literature, because we don't have a lot of that. We're getting better. Publishing is getting a lot better at publishing and buying books by people of color, but we're still not where we should be. I feel. I think we need more.
I think the one thing our listeners should definitely be aware is that you have been immersed in literature your whole life. You are a librarian, you are a teacher. So the word and you being involved is nothing new. It's not like somebody should step off the street and said, hey, I'm going to go curate a book. That's not the case. So let's not downplay your skills and talents, honey. Slow it down and not downplay it because you do know and understand what literature is. You have been in this role, you have taught it. So you've been teaching English for a while. You put these seminars, you put workshops together all the time. So it is a natural progression for somebody who's immersed this much in literature to say, you know what, I know people in this community that have all this talent, they can come together to pull this anthology. When I said it doesn't happen to everyone, it is not a bad thing because you saw a need and you fought for it. So this is the reality of where passion, time in the universe comes together. And it's beautiful because you are, of all the people, let's be honest, if anybody can curate a collection of books, it should be a librarian. So this is absolutely perfect. So celebrate it. You don't have to live up to it. You already have. You are absolutely one of the reigning queens when it comes to bringing our voices together. So, baby, celebrate it. You're good at this. So, relax.
Thank you.
So, tell me, what is your next project? Because you hinting at it. Do you have something else you're interested in working on? What is your next master plan?
My problem is I have too many things that I want to do, and there's not enough time in the world, in my days, in my life. But I do have a couple of other things that I'm working on. And I want two more anthologies. I have two more anthologies that I want to put together because I want it to be like a little trilogy of work. And then that's like my contribution to the Mexican American literature. Because I was an English teacher and I really feel we need more anthologies because there's not enough time in the English classroom anymore to read novel. There just isn't anymore. And I feel short stories and poems and essays are perfect for the classroom because they worked. I read novels and I read short stories when I was in the classroom. And they both, I love novels. So it worked well for me. But some teachers don't have time for that. And some schools don't allow it. It's hard to be a teacher this day and age. If I can put more stories out there for the educators to have in their classrooms and to work with brilliant writers that I know. I just know so many brilliant people. I'm just very lucky about that. But so I have that, and I'm working on a novel right now.
You have a lot of stuff going on. So sometimes it's hard to say, I'm going to focus on this and not that. But I am excited. I love the fact that when you're looking at your anthologies, you have really specific goals. You're looking at there's an entire population that might not get to see these books unless it's in the classroom. So then give them something good for them to connect. And yes, you do need to work on your novel. So don't stop. You got this. So tell me, sweetie, as you're getting ready to start launching, how has it been to promote this book?
I've had the best time. I've been invited to a couple of book festivals, and I've been invited to classrooms and to libraries to do like book talks with their book club. Last week I was in a school in Brownsville where the kids read the book. Like, sometimes I go to schools and they haven't read the book yet. They're just there. Okay, so she wrote a book. Okay, they show them the book, and they're like, and then they'll go check out the book after you leave. But this group of kids have read it. It was so fun because we were able to talk about all the stories, and it was amazing to know that they had read all of the stories and loved it and connected with it. And that was fun. I did a workshop for librarians here where I live. That's always fun to talk to my librarian friends about diverse literature and about this. And I've just been this summer, I get to go to the Bronx Book Festival. I'm going to go over there and do a panel promoting like online, like with different things like this. Zoom stuff. I have a group of writers that we met right before our books came out. We've been doing stuff together for over a year. And we found each other. We both had books that went out about the same time in 2021. We're going to do NCTE in November. And we're going to actually go this time. We've been doing a lot of things online. I just hope I get to talk about this book forever. Part of the Read Across America school year for this year in June, we're the young adult book for the month. There's a picture book, a middle grade book, and a young adult book that come out every month that they showcase every month. And Living Beyond Borders is going to be the book for June. So that's exciting for Read Across America. It's been fun. Like, it's been amazing. And like I said, I'm very blessed. Like, sometimes I can't even put into words what has happened here. I went for Lupita. Like, I met her when her first book came out. I think this was about 10 years ago. Tijuana put a book for her under the mesquite. I had her at my campus. I had just become a librarian. She was probably one of my first writers that I had as an author visit my school. After that, we just became friends. For her to just mention to her agent and for all of this to happen because of her, I owe her big. I don't even know. Sometimes I even told her, I don't even know how to repay you for what you've done for me. You basically changed like my whole life and kind of put me on this path that I'm super excited about. And she was like, you don't need to repay me. She goes, we just need to help each other. She goes, I saw there was an opportunity to help. She goes, when you get to where you need to be, then you help the next one up. And we just keep helping each other up and helping each other up and putting these beautiful stories into the world. And that's how we pay each other back. And I was just like, she's just the most amazing person.
That is such a beautiful way of seeing things and being able to pay it forward. It is such a great message to say once you get to that place that you do the same thing for somebody else. So it's a beautiful reminder to everybody that this is a beautiful community of people working together to bring amazing works to life. So I love her. She's amazing, sweetie. I could talk to you forever, but you got many things to do, so I won't keep you. But before you leave us, are you ready for the lightning round?
Okay.
Easy peasy. Do not think too hard into this. Let's see how you do. Sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Nice. City or mountain?
City.
Book or print?
Print.
Okay, here's a little harder one. Let's see how you handle this one. If you could meet any famous person, dead or alive, who will you meet?
I think I would want to meet Jane Austen.
That's awesome.
I love her. She's my queen of all things. Jane Austen. Oh my God, I would love to meet her.
Sweetie, let us know. Where can people find the book? Where can they find you?
The book is available everywhere. It's Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, your local independent bookstores. It just came out in paperback. The audiobook is on Audible. Anywhere else you can get audiobooks. That's really exciting that I'm listening to it and it's so pretty. And then you can find me at margiesmustreads.com or Margie's Must Reads on Instagram.
Love it. So, my friends, go ahead, check Miss Margie out. Go find the book, get this collection in your bookshelf because you need it. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
Such a pleasure.
you.
It's such a pleasure. To our listeners, go ahead, share this podcast, give us a invite others to join us. We're always better when we do this together. A huge shout out to our Patreon community. And we'll be back next week with another amazing author. Bye, my friends.